Stay close, Boo. No way, I'd still rather do this in the 6 a.m. day shift. Oh, howdy. Let's talk about this thing around the video, YouTube. The guys who host my vids and sign my paychecks. Thanks. They can be real jerks, but hey, I get to do what I love, and I can talk with you. Anyway, YouTube is home to some very unorthodox and bizarre videos. They might be disturbing, or simply discussing some very serious topics not normally talked about in society. These dark topics could leave a viewer shaken, disturbed, or laughing, or better yet, both. There's oodles of talent behind some of these shows, so let's check them out today. Let's check out the 10 darkest web cartoons. And to the creators of these shows, whether I happen to like your videos or not, I have nothing but respect for your attempts to make animated content. Animation in a studio, yet alone on a small YouTube budget, must be really difficult and time consuming. And obviously, just a content warning, there'll be more animated gore and some mature themes in this video. But as always in this channel, we'll try our best to discuss it all with respect and care. With that said, on to the countdown.
Now, all that you're there isn't helping either of us.
Number 10. Hell of a Boss. We're off to an interesting start. By the first 3 minutes, we've seen our three imp heroes commit multiple murders, all to a surprisingly catchy song about them being murder professionals.
When you want somebody gone and you don't want to wait too long, call the immediate murder professionals.
You see, Blitzo, Moxie, and Millie run an assassination agency. This agency is, of course, in hell. It's a nice simple setup and we get a good feel for who's who and what's going on well within 5 minutes, which is a real compliment to the writing, and it lets us focus more on the fun characters. I think Hell of a Boss is a good example of a classy, well done dark comedy. And for a YouTube cartoon, this voice acting feels so professional. In fact, I could swear Moxie is the voice of Zim.
I can't rule the world without cool flames shooting up behind me! You sit on a... and the... Do your job!
Oh yeah, I checked IMDb and it turns out it is the voice of Zim, Richard Horvitz. How cool is that? I gotta say, a pedantic stick-in-the-mud imp is like the most perfect role ever for him. And better yet, this crew has some great dialogue to work with. I really like some of the jokes here.
Now let's go lick some ass!
The expression is kick some ass, Blitz.
Mine's better.
A lot of this dialogue is well on par with many of the high-budget cartoons I've seen in the past. Even the dynamic between the characters feels so vibrant and interesting. For example, Moxie and Millie have a very real-feeling long-term couple chemistry, and it's refreshing to see on TV a couple that doesn't constantly bicker at each other and it just is a team working together. That's what a marriage is meant to be, working as a team together.
Of all the imps in hell, it's for her that I fell, oh Millie. Are you f***ing filming us right now?
Likewise, their boss Blitz is a whirlwind of energy. Blitz can just walk into a room and own the scene.
Not even a length of time in hell and already plotting revenge. I can respect a man with that sort of passion. I'm Blitz, the O is silent.
And Hellhound Luna's aloof, uncaring personality just tops off the team's dynamic so well.
This kid probably sets dogs on fire. Maybe this girl gets off to bullying Australian kids online, and this guy definitely watches.
What makes Hell of a Boss special to me is these characters stick with you, even within just 5 minutes of watching. And how beautiful is this animation? This may be a spin-off of Has-Been Hotel, but that doesn't mean they've dropped the quality of the animation, that's for sure. It's got a smooth, toony enough feel that the ultra-gory scene's harshness is more comedic than disturbing. Surprisingly, it all works rather perfectly for Hell. Anyway, Hell of a Boss has a superb voice cast, gorgeous animation, and a thrilling chemistry between characters. Number... Five Nights at Freddy's found footage videos. Five Nights at Freddy's. The story of William, the purple serial killer, and the importance of designing your animatronics with kill switches that are absolutely ghost-proof. Well, yeah, except you, Boo. Oh yeah, I'm sure you could have a friendlier animatronic. You could like serve drinks as security or something. Aw, thanks Boo, I wouldn't do a shift without you either. Anyway, these Five Nights videos are done in what's known as analog horror style. You know, that grainy found footage VHS quality that just has a way of being way creepier than when everything's in perfect HD, because nothing scares us better than the unknown, when we have to fill the gaps with our own imagination. With distorted and bizarre sounds and music, these broadcasts are very ominous. some are behind the scenes looks at these hideous animatronics technicals.
Take the torso piece and lift it upward until it is completely removed.
There are also training videos for new employees that use minimal visuals to build tension. For example, in one video, we might spend a good portion of the episode just staring at our favorite genocidal animatronic bunny, Bonnie, only for Bonnie to suddenly hop up and try and murder the technician in front of it.
No.
Though why he wouldn't keep a lightsaber around him at all times when even near this thing is anyone's guess.
I could have died!
Much like the Five Nights animatronics themselves, these videos bathe in the uncanny valley. There's this foreboding sense of unease as we try and decipher these strange found footage tapes. What I like about these videos is they expand upon the compelling lore of the games, while they still stay very true to the original spirit of the games. These Five Nights videos are so well done that I actually thought they were originally made by the game's creator, Scott Cawthon. What was your suggestion I get a second job? I do have a social life. Salad fingers. Whoa, now this one takes me back. Way back in my day, to the year 2004. So way back then, YouTube didn't exist, and instead websites like Newgrounds were massive on the internet. This is where channels like Egoraptor got their start, with Metal Gear Awesome. I swear I watched that thing on the first day like 5 times.
Metal Gear, whatever. Meryl's hot. She my niece. She's still hot, asshole.
But one day, when I was browsing around, there was something very strange I uncovered. It was a little flash about this weird little green imp-like creature.
Hello. I like rusty spoons.
He talked slowly like a little wiener of a creature, seeming to find personal gratification from spoons and the feel of them. Not that I mind his spoon fixation, but unfortunately that's not where it ends. Greeno Creepo here was actually a devious serial killer that would trap passerbyers and murder them. What exactly is he? Why is his skin green? Unfortunately, this hermit pencil dweeb gone wrong just gives us no information. But the one thing we can say for certain is he really likes rusty metal spoons.
The feeling of rust against my salad fingers.
Like, he really likes them a lot. What was particularly creepy about Salad Fingers was how the show and atmosphere fit into the uncanny valley. The show was a master of awkward, uncomfortable silences and a disturbing sense of isolation, like this place. He's the crazy cat hermit that no one wants to turn into. He's alone in a house of filth, rust, and isolation for years, finding unfortunate passerbyers and dispatching them for his own sickly thrills, dragging them into his lair. His mind was so twisted that he seemed to take pleasure in the suffering he brought. In case you're wondering about the uncanny valley, it's when something can look kind of realistic, but feel slightly off. And when something's slightly off about something, some people can feel horrified by this. A good example of this is mannequins or dolls or these fellas. A good example for our little green murderer here is his creepy finger puppets, or the show's incorporation of live action pieces alongside its crude animation. And the deeper we get into these 10 episodes, the darker it gets. To the point where Salad Fingers is digging up corpses to have dinner with them. Ew.
Would you care for a spot of ruby tea?
Salad Fingers is all about finding the most discomforting concepts possible and sitting the viewer in them for far too long. I've heard some people say they found Salad Fingers an endearing character. Personally, I always just wanted him behind bars or isolated in a mental ward before he hurts anyone else. I'm certainly not going to claim I like this show or that it's a good show. Personally, I'd rather be stuck in a kennel full of bored, barking German shepherds than ever watch this again. But I can certainly call Salad Fingers dark.
Yes, Mother. I am a stupid boy.
Foxy, in here? Number 7. The Jerry series. The Jerry series harkens back to a simpler time on YouTube. A time when monetizing wasn't as big a thing. I was still doing anime fan dubs, and many videos were made for fun rather than profit. But enough of me wallowing in the past. This is now. And how do these animations feel nowadays? Well, these bleak animations really hit hard with a lot of relatability. And they don't shy away from some of the more ugly aspects of life. Our hero in this show is Jerry. though perhaps in this case, victim would be a better term than hero. Jerry appears to work full-time in a grocery store, though for some reason, when he gets home, he doesn't actually sleep on bed sheets or anything, just a mattress. He doesn't even have any covers or decorations in his room. I don't mean to be pedantic, but why would you do that? Honestly, I've seen friendlier decor and a razor head. Why not put up some pictures, maybe put some plants down? Here, I'll do it for you. See? How much better does that look? To make it worse, poor Jerry doesn't seem to have any friends either. He spends every morning and night alone, every day, doing the same routine. He never even leaves his house except for work. Anyway, just looking at the clips, you can probably guess what Jerry's about. It's about overstating the sometimes exhausting monotony of a daily routine. However, it's not just one-sided. We also get the story of Jackie, a woman who also works at the grocery store. We get to see they start a relationship, but unfortunately, Jackie steals from Jerry every time they sleep together. But from Jackie's perspective, we can see she's homeless and sleeping on a bench. That doesn't necessarily make it right for her to steal, but we can at least understand both people's perspectives here. Jerry shines a light on the fact that sometimes in life there isn't good or bad guys, just victims. There's both a very dark ending to the show and seemingly a positive end to the show, where Jerry and Jackie meet at a younger age in simpler circumstances. Anyway, the Jerry series leaves the viewer with a sometimes dark and brutal message, but I also think it encourages vigilance and living a healthy life and being around people you care about. Oh, no you don't. Back in your room, Chico. Number 6. Hazbin Hotel. I was tempted to leave Hazbin Hotel to an honorable mention, as it's currently only one episode. But it's a full 30-minute episode, and that's the equivalent to 6 5-minute episodes. Besides, this show is too good to not talk about.
Let me know when you come up with something creative to call me, you sack of poorly packaged horse shit.
What is not to like in this series? The songs are so professionally sung that I felt like I was watching a Disney movie. A very violent, gory, dark Disney movie, but, you know, a Disney movie. And like Hell of a Boss, the art is gorgeous and has a unique style of its own. Every frame oozes personality and character, and there's a definite color scheme here that characterizes the world well. I was trying to think of a similar animation style, but honestly, I couldn't think of one like this, except Hell of a Boss, and that's because it's a spin-off. In case you haven't heard about the series, somehow, then the basics of the story is this. Overpopulation has become a big issue in Hell. The daughter of Lucifer, Charlie, looks for a non-violent solution to this. She starts a hotel that attempts to rehabilitate Hell dwellers in order to lower the population. Hopefully demons can check out of the hotel when they're rehabilitated and head off to heaven.
Hey, come on. We don't know if things are over yet. Try to relax, Vaggie. It'll be okay.
Although I really like how charming Charlie is, I also really like Alistair, also known as the Radio Demon, who speaks like an old-timey fashion radio announcer, who dances.
Considered an investment in ongoing entertainment for myself. I want to watch the scum of the world struggle to climb up the hill of betterment.
Doesn't this animation just stand out? Every character I come across is so stylized and memorable, even the minor characters. Like Hell of a Boss, the characters and dark humor are great, but I did find myself disappointed. Unfortunately, I found myself wanting more, but I suspect that's because the show was picked up to become a series by a company called A24. I personally haven't heard a release date for the series yet or what platform it'll be on, but if it shows up on my Netflix or Disney Plus, I'll definitely be checking it out.
Then I would say that you are quite in luck. Hey everyone, I'm Cohen from Phoenix Star YT, the editor of this segment. So, according to this article by The Cinemaholic, the second episode of Hazbin Hotel is to be released in October of 2021.
Oh, thanks for the heads up, Phoenix. If that's the case, I'm looking forward to it. What's wrong? The Sonic EXE trilogy. This is probably the most famous video game creepypasta of all time. In case you don't know, Sonic EXE is about Sonic becoming a ravenous, mass-murdering lunatic with pitch black and red eyes. He's seemingly impervious to pain and able to float in the air. Back Back in 2016, the YouTube channel Bratwurst brought this famous creepypasta to life in a disturbing collection of videos. Something I appreciate here though is that although this is a YouTube series, it's still willing to have quiet moments to build the tension. Everything doesn't need to be one jump cut to the next here. There is a real sense of slow build-up to the horrific scenes, and when these scenes happen, they're earned. There's not much else to say about this horror series. It's tense, the animation's fine, and I like the fights between characters like EXE and Knuckles. You can see here Knuckles fights to his last breath. Overall, my only complaint is I think EXE's voice could have been made to sound much better. For example, at this point, EXE's voice sounds like this.
Years and years of your life spent deploying your pathetic contraptions in an attempt to defeat me.
Personally, I would have made it sound more like this. Years and years of your life spent deploying your pathetic contraptions in an attempt to defeat me, which is all for nothing. Pitiful.
It's a very sad day for you, isn't it, Doctor?
You had to suggest I take a second job, didn't you? No way, I'm still not getting up at 5 a.m. Monster Lab.
When are we gonna start taking baths together?
What even is this? I'm certainly not going to call this good, and it certainly doesn't feel deep. But, well, Monster Lab is definitely something. Animated body organs and mutilation are one of the many sights we get in this creep fest. But it's not just the strange visuals. I felt the concepts could be dark as well. For example, in the first episode, these deformed homunculi creatures known as Cats and Uno, well, they attempt to create a creature for the sole purpose of attacking and hurting it for their pleasure.
Let's craft a creature that just wants us to beat the shit out of them.
It appears these creatures have been left behind by their now dead man scientist creator. What a pity.
I don't think we're gonna help the world this episode, week.
You lack drive, Uno.
Eventually, they'll go on to just try and solve problems instead, but obviously create problems in the process. Obviously, it's got an audience, but personally, I found this a strange combination of Secret Mountains Fort Awesome, Problem Solvers, and King Star King. And to me anyway, those aren't exactly stellar productions.
That just leaves more for Daddy.
Personally, I found Monster Lab more like a cheap late-night Adult Swim show. But hey, there's an audience for that. And it wasn't produced by Adult Swim, it was produced by a YouTube channel. A popular one, sure, but their budget was probably a bit smaller than Cartoon Network. So respects to Meat Canyon for producing Monster Lab. I know there's a lot of fans out there, and I'm glad they can enjoy it. Hello, Foxy. Are you... Whoa! Story Booth. Now this is the kind of dark I like. Not flinching away from real issues and real people, even when they get very serious. Story Booth isn't dark because it's trying to get attention or gross out people. It discusses dark issues from real people in order to explore these issues. For example, there's an episode where a 16-year-old teenager gets pregnant, and we watch her go through this life-changing situation. Or an episode where a teenager gets COVID, gets horribly sick and has to go to the hospital. In fact, there was one episode that was so uncomfortable that it made my gut twist in revulsion. I literally spent the entire episode going, ew. Yet it was a completely real scenario where a girl pretends to be over 18 and joins a dating app.
Whatever, who cares? We can also date some hot grown-up guys.
Yet at the end of the day, I understand teenagers and children may not always think things through. Adults certainly don't. And many of these situations happen at no fault of their own. Some of it is just life. And it's a reminder to me anyway that we can't control other people, but we can control ourselves. There were so many real topics here that I personally don't hear discussed that often. Topics like racism, drugs, hateful bullying, or school lockdowns. Multiple times I would make an audible gasp when I heard certain parts of the story, because I was temporarily stepping into the shoes of these people. And when a 4-minute video on YouTube can make me gasp, I think that's something very special. Personally, I can heartily recommend Story Booth. It helped me better empathize with these people while also discussing dark topics.
Since that day, I've experienced a lot more lockdowns. They're really upsetting and scary, and I just wish it wasn't a reality of the world we live in.
Bet you weren't expecting me to show up early.
I always come back. Thank you for purchasing the Maniac Animatronic Disassembly Manual. We hope this guide will give you many happy years of not being brutally murdered by your haunted animatronics.
Now would be a good time to hold your breath.
Llamas with hats.
You toppled a South American government, Carl!
The people have spoken. Viva la resistance!
You pushed the resistance leader into a giant fan!
He was a traitor and a scoundrel.
Jeebus, who thought a show about two llamas yammering onto each other could turn into such a dark tragedy? You see, Carl is a serial killing llama. His roommate Paul is not a fan of Carl's sociopathic tendencies.
Carl, I watched you fire a harpoon into the captain's face!
That sounds dangerous.
Eventually, Paul gets fed up and has no choice but to leave. And from there, we watch Carl slowly delve into insanity as he struggles to keep his mind together on his own. I think the use of Frampton Hollis described this series the best. An absurdist black humor comedy of the internet age. And I gotta say, from episode 7 onwards, things somehow get even weirder. And the show basically switches from a comedy to a full-on tragedy. Although black humor isn't always my thing, this did give me some laughs without grossing me out too much, because the insanity is described in dialogue rather than being shown for shock value.
I should probably mention that I filled our luggage with orphan meat.
What?
Well, I'm building a meat dragon, and not just any meat will do.
You know what? Forget it. I'm not even shocked anymore.
The setups are so ridiculously over-the-top horrible that it's hard not to chuckle at. Carl's mental breakdown at the end does get a bit too bleak for me to laugh at, but that's what a black comedy's all about. Black comedies are meant to be over the top and sometimes horrible. There are parts you'll laugh at, and certainly parts you won't. But anyway, it's still a fascinating delve into the mind of a megalomaniac llama. And before we get to the number ones, let's go through some honorable mentions. Happy Tree Friends. I left this one off the list because me personally, I don't consider it that dark. From when I first saw it when I was just a teenager, it's always seemed more juvenile than dark to me. To me anyway, 16 years ago when I saw it, a lot of the episodes felt like they were screaming for attention rather than actually exploring dark concepts. With that being said, I have seen some episodes that explore post-traumatic stress disorder, which is a very important topic to be discussed. Madness Combat. This one got recommended a lot as well, but again, I don't really consider it very dark. To me, it was more a great example of YouTube animation action scenes. We see combat scenarios of so many types, and we watch the main character Hank escape each one Rambo style. It reminds me of one of my old favorite Flash series, Xiao Xiao, again from the Newgrounds era. Very cool, I would recommend this one. Well, where'd the ugly bear go then? Whoa!
It looks like someone wasn't ready for Freddy.
Who designed these spring traps? Number 1. Don't hug me, I'm scared. Now this is more like it. Eldritch monsters dancing in existential horror. Although technically it's not all animation, as it incorporates live action. To not talk about this one when discussing dark animation will simply not do. This is YouTube's psychological horrors at their finest. This show is not dark simply because of random bouts of disturbing imagery. This is very much dark for the concepts it explores as well. Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared is able to make viewers uncomfortable simply by setting its characters in a room. Something I find fascinating is the show carefully finds what is allowed in YouTube's guidelines to be shown and pushes those boundaries ever so slightly. Can they show a human heart? Apparently, yes, they can. Simply looking at this show can leave a feeling of discomfort to many. Like David Lynch, these creators are the master of the uncanny valley, where the brain thinks it's looking at humans, but our subconscious realizes something is very wrong. This show is not a stranger to existential horror and many other dark topics. For example, this Time episode discusses the transience of consciousness and existence, the continual loss of the moment of time itself. Or how do morality and creativity collide? Where does creativity stop before we draw the line and become monsters? You know, that disembodied voice at the back of your head. So what exactly are these things? Eldritch horrors? Cronenbergs? Even the wiki doesn't give us names beyond Red Puppet, Yellow Puppet, and Duck Guy. Red Horror, Yellow Creeper, and Duck Dastardly it is then.
He seems upset about something. I wonder what will happen.
Red Horror particularly doesn't resemble anything I've ever seen, beyond maybe spaghetti. He's a creepy pasta. Whether you actually find anything insightful in this show or not is going to vary upon who's watching. But for me personally, I found it deliciously unsettling, but also artistic and beautifully done. So if you're into horror or the bizarre, maybe give it a look. It looks like a television premiere is being released. And personally, I'm intrigued to what new horrors await us.
Well, if you have your own thoughts on these YouTube cartoons or have any recommendations for future videos, feel free to leave your own thoughts in the comments below. Hey Boo. Sorry, but I'm resigning. I'll take up a sport or something. And as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.